as well as a look at the ballot initiatives that were passed here in Nevada. Studio G starts right now. Hello and welcome to Studio G. I'm Idania Ramirez.
And I'm Sharon Moore. We start today with some breaking news. Donald Trump touched down this morning in Washington, D.C. to meet with President Obama in a much-anticipated one-on-one meeting, just a day after completing what seemed like an impossible political upset. The historic meeting took place in the Oval Office, where Obama summed up the meeting as excellent and also called Trump a very good man. They spoke about foreign policy and the inner workings of the West Wing. Trump replied that the meeting with the president was a great honor and said he looked forward to meeting with Obama many more times in the future.
I just think overall it's just been a very controversial election, but I also think that it's good that Obama at least has some good remarks to say and that they're saying that it's going to be a smooth transition.
I feel like it's very good that they're meeting together and trying to bring our country together, because right now it does feel very divided. So it's nice that they're trying to work with each other.
And they want a smooth transition too, which is really good because we really need that right now.
Right.
In addition to voting for the president, among various other things, Nevada residents cast their ballots on 5 questions, all of which were passed by the people of the Silver State. A difference of less than 10,000 votes decided the fate between ballot question 1, which enforces background checks for gun sales. Another relatively hot topic in Nevada throughout the past few years is the legalization of marijuana, which happened to be the subject of question 2. This referendum was passed by 54% of Nevadans, recording more than 600,000 votes. Ballot questions 3 and 4 were passed by considerably wider margins by Nevada residents. Question 3 targeted to prohibit monopolies and exclusive franchises in retail electric energy markets, while question 4 exempts some medical equipment from sales tax. Both questions were passed by 72% of Nevadans, each receiving more than 7,600 votes. Nevada voters also passed a fuel tax hike to fund nearly 200 roadway projects, which was the subject of ballot question 5 and garnered 56% of support from Nevadans. Now, while some Americans are struggling with the idea of accepting the new president-elect Donald Trump into office, the people of South Africa are having to say goodbye to their president Jacob Zuma as he resigned from office. We go to Studio G reporter Lemitra Miller for the story.
Among other problems in South Africa, the main problem will be the resignation of President Jacob Zuma. President Jacob Zuma, a black descendant of Africa, and also a former intelligence chief of ANC military wing. Zuma in time past was imprisoned on Robben Island along with Nelson Mandela. But his past contributions was not remembered as the people of South Africa of Pretoria took to the streets. It is clear that the citizens here want him removed from office. It is believed that the president and top aides' decisions are being swayed by a wealthy family here in South Africa, and that has caused many in Pretoria to hold demonstrations to have him removed. President Zuma believes that he did not get a fair chance to prove the statements are not true before the people took to the streets. It is said that the president must have and have already appointed a special commission to launch an investigation. But this is little comfort for the citizens here, because the investigation must go through the president himself. And so far, no information have been provided, so the protest continues. Reporting for Studio G, I'm Lemitra Miller.
Hopefully, the investigation into President Jacob Zuma is completed quickly and helps bring comfort to the people of South Africa.
It's the day before Veterans Day, a day to honor those who have served our country and have fought some of the toughest battles in the name of the United States. But after risking their life for this country, some are forced to leave as thousands of veterans are deported each year. I had the opportunity to go to the border and get a deeper look on the issue that is deteriorating the life of many who put America before their own life. Let's take a look.
I got deported in '98 to Juarez. I was there a couple months. It's kind of difficult.
Ruben Robles, the Vietnam Army veteran who also served in the Cold War, says that after serving 6 years in the U.S. military, his life started going downhill, which led him to do something that cost him his life in the U.S.
I held up a couple banks.
The U.S. resident who was born in Mexico but was raised in Los Angeles from the age of 5 was then in trial for 10 months, and the result? Deportation.
10 years would have been a good punishment to keep me out for 10 years, but to take all my benefits away and stuff.
This is actually the case for thousands of veterans that form part of the military legally with U.S. residency but not being citizens.
Cuando eres residente legal de Estados Unidos, estás limitado a la cantidad de beneficios que puedes.
When you are a legal resident of the United States, you are limited with the amount of benefits you receive, and one of them is that if you were to get into a legal problem, the U.S. has the authority by part of the Immigration Department to resign your residency and deport you.
Organizations like the Deported Veteran Support House provide free legal services to the thousands of veterans that are now looking for assistance on the border.
Se nos hace muy inconcebible que una persona que ha estado dispuesta a dar su vida por la bandera de Estados Unidos.
It's inconceivable that a person who is willing to give up their life for the U.S. flag, for the freedom of the U.S., in such a vulgar way, they are taking away the opportunity to live in the U.S. along with their families.
But regardless of the hardships Robles has had to go through, like language barrier, finding a job, and having support, Robles still has patriotism for the country he used to serve.
But I do it again.
Now, currently, with the announcing presidency of Donald J. Trump, organizations on the border are saying they're expecting more veterans to be arriving at the border for assistance. Now, it's important to give an honorable recognition to anyone who has served the tough battles in the name of the U.S. tomorrow and always. And now we're going to take a short break, and when we return, a look into the UNLV student-run newspaper, The Rebel Yell.
Sunday evening jazz. I mainly play a lot of contemporary jazz music from the 1960s up until about 2012, 2013. When I go on to explain who it was, the name of the song, the name of the artist, maybe the name of the album, their career. I just hope that everybody enjoys it and appreciate it for the kind of music it is and how great it is. My name is Sam, and I host Sunday evening jazz on therebelhd2.com.
Our Metropolis is a 30-minute show that airs every Tuesday evening at 91.5. You're going to hear Dr. Gary Larson along with our regular contributors talking about what matters to our community. And not only what matters, but why does it matter? We look at our community as a whole, but we also pay special attention to what's happening here at UNLV because that's our home as well. So looking at our Metropolis through the lens of a radio show really gives us the unique perspective to tell a story through words and through people, and I think it makes for a great program.
The show's name is The Rebel and Revolt Show. Pretty good show about, just someone who will actually talk about UNLV the way an outsider might feel. We talk about current events, we talk about politics, try to take an offensive swing with it. Sometimes it's hit or miss, but and then we talk about, the little things in life that everybody laughs about. And we are the Rebels and we are revolting. My name is Jameson Wilk and I run the Rebel and Revolt Show, and you can tune in at therebelhd2.com.
TV broadcast isn't the only form of news on campus, but the Rebel Yell may not be around much longer. Reporter Denise Hernandez has the story.
The Rebel Yell is UNLV's student-run newspaper, but it may not be around for much longer.
Our financial issues are not well right now. We were only given $31,000 from the Student Affairs Committee at UNLV for the whole year. We need much more than that to operate. It's just barely enough to get through the semester.
The paper's budget has been downsized considerably. After a split from CSUN in 2012, the Rebel Yell has been looking for other funding options in order to get the news out.
So we've considered things like publishing less frequently. I know last year's editor-in-chief thought about having just a monthly magazine instead of a weekly paper, so a better quality product, but just once a month, and that would save us a little bit on printing. We've considered going online only. We've considered lowering some pay. We've already lowered all of the staff's stipend pay. We've tried lowering the advisors' pay without much luck, but yeah, and we've also looked at some corporate donors, different educational foundations, what they might give us. We do sell ads. Ad revenue's been going down. Just like with any other newspaper, ad revenue hasn't been going that well. Compared to last year, we're doing a lot better this year with it since we've put renewed emphasis on trying to raise as much funds as possible. However, even at this rate, we're probably only going to have about a little over half of what we need just from ads for a semester, and that's an optimistic view of it.
For right now, the paper has been going for short-term solutions while planning for the long term.
Just launched a GoFundMe. We tried launching a Rebel Raiser, but that ran into complications. I've also recently hired a fundraising director that will be handling the fundraising projects from here on out. So it's not just one thing that can be the magic bullet that will save our funding situation, but it's a grouping of things that will get us through it.
Students can help save the paper by doing several things.
Students can do a lot of things to help. The biggest thing is just to read our content and show people that the student body cares about us, and in turn that we care about you. If they want, they could join us as staff members, they could volunteer as staff members. They could also join our advisory board, which is supposed to be made up of all student members, but is currently run by several faculty members as well as professionals working in the city. That's not how it should be. It's supposed to be all students. We're a publication by the students for the students, so we should be run by students.
So the next time you feel like you're out of the loop, be sure to pick up an issue of the Rebel Yell. For Studio G, I'm Denise Hernandez.
And we are the Rebel Yell!
Back to you in the studio.
Here to discuss the student-run paper is Rebel Yell Managing Editor Blaze Lovell. Okay. Hi. So how are you?
Good. What about you?
I'm good. So the first question I'm going to ask is that I know you guys have a special edition this week. Can you tell a little bit about that?
Yeah, so originally my idea for this issue was to focus on the ballot initiatives and the election because that's what's important to people, but also recognize that our staff had a lot of opinions that they wanted to share. So I wanted to combine the two into the hashtag Save Free Press issue, and in there I had each of the section editors and their assistants write an editorial about what the Rebel Yell means to them and why it should stick around and why it's important for journalism students and the student body in general.
And then can you just spread a little bit more about what's going on with the Rebel Yell right now? What are you guys trying to get through?
Yeah, so basically we're in a funding crisis. As you've seen in Denise's story, we need at least $30,000 by the end of the semester, or our advisory board will recommend that we stop printing and stop operations immediately. We do have at least some funds from advertising revenue to get through the first few weeks, the first month or two, but they want something more permanent, and that's what we're trying to get to. You know, funding has always been a struggle for us, even back in the 70s through the 80s, and but this is the first time that we're really facing an imminent danger.
No, this is horrible. So I know you guys have a board meeting coming up next week, and this is pretty much going to help decide the fate of the paper. Can you explain a little bit about that and how we can help and everything?
Yeah, sir. Our advisory board makes all of our business and financial decisions. And, for students, the biggest thing that they can all do is to read us, inform themselves about the UNLV community that we cover, and show everyone that they care about us and that, we matter to them. If they'd like, they could also spread the word about what we're doing within our organization, how we cover UNLV, and why it's important for us to stick around. We also have a GoFundMe that we've just launched recently, so if they'd like to donate to that, that'd be great. Every little bit counts.
Okay, perfect. And then can I ask who makes up the board? Is it made up of teachers, students, professors?
Ideally, it would be made up of all students. Right now, it's chaired by Steve Sebelius. He's a columnist for the RJ and several other professional members. We have one UNLV journalism faculty right now, that's Kathy Espin.
Okay, cool. And I think something that students don't get is how important the Rebel Yell has played in our university. Can you talk a little bit about that and why this is such a big deal for students and why we need to get involved?
Yeah, we've been around since before UNLV was even UNLV. We started when it was still Nevada Southern, and we've been there covering student government and covering the university as a whole objectively throughout its entire history. We've been the voice of student activism. Right now, students can go to the first floor of the Lead Library. There's a large exhibition showing how student activism and the Rebel Yell has always come together and played a part in UNLV's history. And if it were to disappear, that would be really bad for the community.
It feels like a voice would be lost on campus,
Yeah,
which
definitely.
is a horrible thing to waste, obviously. Can you talk a little bit about some of the issues that you guys have covered over the years?
Absolutely. Going way back to the basketball team opposing the Rebels name because they believed it was racist. Other student activists throughout the years during the 60s and the civil rights movement, that was a big thing for us. More recently, during a rally for students to show their solidarity with the University of Missouri during that whole debacle and the sports teams as well. And up to now, the student rallies and protests during the election. So we've been here for all the large UNLV events, and I'm certain we'll be here for years to come.
Hopefully a longer time to come. But obviously that can't help without the funding. So have you guys been doing other fundraising efforts and anything? I know you already mentioned the GoFundMe. Is there any other way that students can help with the paper?
Yeah, we've been looking at other fundraising avenues. We're trying to come together with local businesses and possibly do ventures with them. Maybe have a music show. A couple of our staff members are playing bands or were in bands, or we play music from time to time. So things like that. We now have a fundraising director to handle all of that. So it's going to be really interesting moving forward for us.
And then I have a question. What happens if the paper does shut down? How will this affect our campus?
If it does shut down, the only news source you'd have in print would be, well, you wouldn't have a news source in print because we're the only one now, but you wouldn't have anything else besides maybe Studio G that covers the university objectively, and pretty much all the wide array of stories that get out to the media and to the community around UNLV would only be siphoned through their PR department and UNLV News. So it wouldn't be anything objective. It would just be to make UNLV look good. We're not just here to make UNLV look good. We have a job to do.
Right. And then is it still too late for students to even work for the paper and everything? I know that Greenspun students know a lot about the paper, but what about people in the health college and the other, the hospitality college?
Yeah, we always have students coming to us from different schools. Our ad department was made up of students from the business school and in their marketing programs. We have writers from the English department. We've had other writers from various schools. So it's never too late to work for us. I handle all the hiring processes, and there's a lot of different applicants that come through my desk every day.
Okay, perfect. And then just for the final question, can you just, again, mention the GoFundMe, and then also maybe how people can reach you if they want to start working for the Rebel Yell and also get involved in helping?
Yeah, the URL for our GoFundMe is www.gofundme.com/save-free-press-at-UNLV. Sorry, it's a little long. If people want to contact me, they may email me. My email is managing@unlvrebelyell.com. I'm in the office most days because I swear to God I'm chained to my desk and my computer and never leave. So yeah.
Okay, perfect. Okay, for more information on the Rebel Yell, visit their website, unlv.rebelyell.com. We will be back after this commercial break with a look at the weather with Mary Jane.
As far as Studio G, at first it looks overwhelming, and at first it looks like it's a lot of work, but I'll tell you what, it's the most beneficial class I've had at UNLV to date. without a doubt. You get to not only develop stories and work on your interviewing skills, your editing skills, and your shooting skills from a camera perspective, you get to work on all the equipment that's in the studio. So you're working on audio, you're working on directing, tech directing. You get to produce your own show. You can take a 30-minute newscast and make it your own. And that's really cool about Studio G. Like I said, a lot of it seems overwhelming at first, but it is by far the best class I've taken at UNLV since I've been here.
You don't get to do an internship, you have to do an internship. It's one of the requirements for a journalism major. You have to do an internship before you can graduate.
Definitely having an internship as a requirement really helps push yourself out there and to just remind you that your graduation is coming up soon. You're going to have to need some work experience in your career. So it's really good to put yourself out there early on, and they tend to help students a lot more. So when you do a student internship, it really helps out a lot.
2, 1.
Oh, the station's great. You make friends, you gain skills, you learn how to do all this stuff with audio. It's a fantastic thing.
I can grow with everyone, and everybody supports me as well as I can support them.
I think it's great. I think it's a blessing to have this kind of equipment from the Green Spun family as well as the state of Nevada.
And it's really informative to see, how a radio show really works.
Now that I do it, I have friends, I have people that want to hang out, and I get to play music a lot.
It's very good too because we have all the top of the line equipment to work with and students here that can help you out, so it's a very, very good way to get involved in the radio.
Hello, I'm Mary Jane, and here's a look at today's weather. Right now, 73 degrees outside, but our high is going to be 78 and drop in 56 to a low. Looking a little bit better than where we were when it was hitting in the 80s. Starting to feel like summer, but it's actually starting to feel like fall now once we get into this season, later into mid-November, excuse me. We have a picture of beautiful aerial picture actually of Nevada Solar 1. Clear skies, that mountain is looking beautiful. The 4-day forecast right now, 78, 56. Friday, Veterans Day, looking pretty nice, 79, 55 for the low. It's going to be really nice if you guys are going out to the park or taking the kids outside. Saturday and Sunday, 1 degree apart, 77 and 78, 58 for the low. Starting to feel a little bit cooler now, starting to look like fall. Let's take a look at across the valley, all the way from Centennial, Summerlin, Nellis, Las Vegas. Looks like 70s is the favorite number. 72 Centennial and Nellis, 73 and 75 hitting Las Vegas, Green Valley and Henderson dropping into the little bit low 70s, 73, 76, and Southern Highlands 72. Let's take a look at across the nation. We got lots and lots of rain. If you see, there's a low front here, cold fronts coming down. Rain is likely across parts of western Washington and Oregon with Pacific storm systems grazing through the coast. Showers and thunderstorms are possible over southern Texas due to weak low pressure. Temps will be 15 to 25 degrees above average over the upper Middle East. That wraps up your weather report. We'll be right back after the break.
Oh, the station's great. You make friends, you gain skills, you learn how to do all this stuff with audio. It's a fantastic thing.
I can grow with everyone, and everybody supports me as well as I can support them.
I think it's great. I think it's a blessing to have this kind of equipment from the Green Spun family as well as the state of Nevada.
And it's really informative to see, how a radio show really works.
Now that I do it, I have friends, I have people that want to hang out, and I get to play music a lot.
It's very good too because we have all the top of the line equipment to work with and students here that can help you out, so it's a very, very good way to get involved in the radio.
My name is Walter from Deep Thought.
My name is Bruce Gill. I'm the host of La Alternativa.
Perfect Music Radio with me, Lily.
My name is Sam, and I host Sunday Evening Jazz.
I am Rockin' Gemini.
This is Jalen Young on More Than Music Mondays.
And listen to us on the Rebel HD2.
In sports sports news, the men's basketball team has their season opener against the University of South Alabama on Friday night at the Thomas & Mack. The team is currently 2-0, and both games that were played were exhibition games and do not count toward regular season play. Once again, the game is tomorrow night at 7 inside the Thomas & Mack. Good luck to the basketball team this season, and keep up the hard work. The UNLV football team also has a game this weekend. The team plays the University of Wyoming on Saturday at 12:30 in the afternoon at Sam Boyd Stadium. The University of Wyoming is currently 5-0 in conference play. This is the second to the last home game for the Rebels, so we hope you can go out and support. And lastly, the UNLV women's soccer team is headed to the NCAA. The team won the Mountain West Championship over the weekend, beating San Diego State University with a penalty kick. The final score was 4-3. The Rebels went 16-3 for regular season play, and this is the first NCAA appearance for the team since 2006. They are set to play BYU for the first round of the tournament. The game is on Friday, November 11th at 6 p.m. at BYU. Congratulations, ladies, on winning the Mountain West Championships, and good luck in the tournament. We will be rooting for you.
The Day of the Dead is a Mexican holiday celebrated in the beginning of November, where they remember their loved ones that have passed away. Las Vegas had their own celebration this past weekend. Reporter Chelsea Bengal has the story.
For the last 9 years, the Springs Preserve has been celebrating Dia de los Muertos and welcoming locals for a cultural event, and it has grown every year.
Day of the Dead is traditionally it started in Mexico. It's a day to celebrate life, celebrate our loved ones who have passed away.
The celebration brought in around 12,000 people.
So it's been growing over the years. We started with one day, and now it's grown to a whole weekend event.
I think it's a great event for locals. I think it brings the community together.
The most important part of the event is the altar. So we have over 35 altars set out throughout our gardens. There's 8 acres of gardens.
Creating an altar for a past loved one, a famous person, or even for a cause is a way to celebrate life and can be created many ways.
Todo lo que lleva una ofrenda.
The altar has all that an offering would have, like flowers, water, bread, tamales, and if the person who passed enjoyed drinking, we would put tequila or something like that, but we didn't put any of that.
Altar itself actually really is what my family has passed on to me. All the artistic things and just the love for life.
Rodrigo Gonzalez says it might not be exactly like Mexico, but it reminds him of his past.
In Mexico, it's beautiful because it's all throughout the country, and many cities are still very conservative of the traditions. However, here it's a very special feeling because we remember how they're living in Mexico.
There's not a lot of cultural stuff here in Vegas, and so this is something cultural.
I really enjoy the American culture. It's a fusion of cultures. Here in the United States, it's a completely multicultural country. There is everything from all races and cultures.
That's what's so special. That all the past loved ones are celebrated in all the many things that they love and they enjoy.
For Studio G, I'm Chelsea Bengal.
The Springs Preserve holds many festivities and classes throughout the year. For more information, you can visit the Springs Preserve website at springspreserve.org.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of Studio G. I'm Idania Ramirez.
And I'm Sherelle Moore. Myself, Idania, and the rest of Studio G Newscast would like to extend our deepest gratitude to the men and women who helped serve our country. And I know a few of them came back this weekend. We will see you next week.